So everyone's like, steal like an artist. You know that book, Steal Like an Artist? No one's fessing up. No one's admitting to their crimes. So here's my battle UI for my game Downtown 14. Information soon. Demo out 2026 maybe? Question mark. Hopefully. But steal like an artist. What does that actually mean? I don't know. I haven't read the book. I'll be real with you. I haven't read the book. But I thought it'd be funny just to show you guys literally what I stole to make this battle UI. Like, I be out here stealing, and hopefully it helps you out too. Maybe the moral of this video is that stealing is okay. So the first one is not so obvious and obvious at the same time. It's the view itself. There are many ways to do like a JRPG view. For my game, I've just gone with the classic. You can't beat the classic. If it's not broken, you should steal it. So Dragon Quest, Undertale, Earthbound, all that good stuff. It's just a front-on flat JRPG view. So the first thing I stolen is the view itself. You can't escape genre, so just use it. So hopefully from the view itself, someone can surmise that it is a JRPG battle screen. The background, one for one, just the Earthbound way of distorting still image. There are a bunch of cool ready-made Godot shaders that mimic the Earthbound effect. I like Earthbound's backgrounds because they're cool and trippy, and I just stole them. I have expanded on them in my own little ways. I might do a technical breakdown of stuff I've done later, but for the most part, it's one for one stolen from Earthbound. The health bars are stolen from Street Fighter 4 because Street Fighter 4 has these cool health bars that are a little like slanted. I've just sort of exaggerated that, and the player and enemy names, just sort of this big, like it just says plume. That's also from fighting games, also from Street Fighter 4. The health bar fill. In fighting games, the health bar is sometimes like flashing, sometimes there's a little highlight. So I was like, because this is broadly a Y2K themed thing, what's a way I can fill the health bar that is Y2K adjacent? Winamp, the Winamp EQ. I wanted to have an equalizer on screen just to accentuate the music visually. I didn't know where to put it, but then I woke up one day and I was like, let's put the EQ in the health bar because that's fun. This is almost, if not one for one, the Winamp equalizer. So there's this cool website called the Winamp Skin Museum. That website was sort of a huge UI reference for me because it's crazy out here. Look, shit's crazy. The way the equalizer is laid out is almost one for one with the Winamp equalizer. So I believe it's like 2 or 3 pixels wide each bar. Like, I'm out here measuring pixels is how dedicated I am to stealing shit. The empty bit of the health bar is very fun. I was like, what's a cool stylized way to show the empty bit of the health bar? A lot of fighting games, they just have it transparent. So I was like, you know what would be funny? If it was literally the Photoshop transparency to show that it was empty. So I stole that from Photoshop. This is really cool. The fonts for the player and enemy names is from this 90s Zinedine Zidane soccer card. I literally just like the look of it, and it's very of the time. If you're trying to evoke an era, just steal shit from that era. Like, straight up, you find the font that's used and you just use it. It's quite simple. The treatment for the player and enemies names, what I mean by the treatment, here's a rare pull. You know the flag of the Seychelles? It's a cool ass flag. I'm really into flags. It has this cool radiant thing that comes from the corner. I just stole that, and then I mixed it up with like this holo effect. Next to the player names, you have your, I guess, type, like kind of like a Pokemon type. Unlike Pokemon, I wanted to show your type on screen. Sometimes the answer is quite obvious. I was like, what's a Y2K icon? And then I found this Y2K icon pack. I didn't use these icons, I made my own, but I stole the vibe of it, if that makes sense. It's like cool and slanted. I think I went as far as measuring the angle of the skew and then skewed it at the same angle, which is neurotic and crazy, but details matter, man. So we go hard. For the treatment on the main type icon, I was looking through my ref board. This ref board had this like iridescent holographic thing. I just steal that and just recreate it and shove it on. These tiny labels are kind of unnecessary because hopefully it's obvious that this side is yours and the other side is the computer's. But I think it adds like a 1% coolness because it's sort of a fighting game and arcade game trope to label the sides of the player and enemy. So I'm chasing these like 1% gains, and this was one of them. Like, if I labeled 1p and com, that's just like a cool little, you know, detail. And I stole that from just in general fighting games and arcade games. And continuing the sort of fighting game wholesale stealing, I have an EX bar, which is a very fighting game concept. It's just a bar that represents how many cool moves you can do. You have a regular move and a cool move, which is EX. I tried the fighting game type EX bar. It kind of didn't really fit, but then I was like, I have this Zelda situation from an old version of my UI. We'll try it here. The sprites are very Zelda Minish Cappy. My sprites in general will end up very Zelda Minish Cappy because that shit is sick. These two little guys in the middle, these will end up as sort of a mix between Joker in Balatro and a Pokemon ability. It's an innate thing that will change the mechanics of the battle itself. These are hopefully obviously based on Tamagotchis. Fun fact, the res for this window is the exact same res as a Tamagotchi window, but instead of using the res for the character, I doubled it, so it's only the character's sort of head, but I wanted to keep that sort of very obvious pixel effect in play. And then this tempo wiggly thing, previously it was just a straight line. I made it wiggly just to evoke a little of the Tamagotchi feel. Moving on to the cards. The cards are in these windows, and these windows are sort of my recurring UI element that will be appearing throughout all my UI. It's a literal window. It's a literal operating system window. It's stolen from a bunch of things. In WarioWare, the GBA game, the first WarioWare, it kind of lines up with my UI philosophy in that it is secretly, or not so secretly, an operating system UI. And same here, Y2K, we play the obvious cards. There's nothing wrong with being obvious. The window style is stolen from Korean MMOs, which are very near and dear to me. The style of the window is halfway between MapleStory and Ragnarok. So Ragnarok has these very, like, you would call them like Frutiger arrow type window bars, and MapleStory has these lovely kind of non-conventional lilac colors, so we just merge them together. For the cards itself, I've one-to-one just stolen the card layout from the Neopets trading card game from like 2003 by Wizards of the Coast, mainly because I had these cards and I can just look at them. I love how playful the Neopets trading card game cards are. They're sort of all full arts, which I wanted my cards to be. I liked how of the time they looked. These look like they are from the 2000s. So we steal that literally one for one. Just put them next to each other. You can see I just steal shit. The card art I've stolen from myself. If you are watching this, I desperately do need help with the card art. There's gonna be so many cards. I'm not gonna be able to do 200 cards. So hit me up. The card type is an interesting one because I didn't want to do a flat icon like the Neopets cards. Instead, I wanted to do something more, cool. Initially, I had it more like a Pokemon energy, but that was a bit boring. So I was like racking my brain, like what's a orb thing? Like a mythical pool. I just woke up one day and was like Puzzle Bobble. Anyone ever play Puzzle Bobble? I played like a crap ton of it as a kid. Like the bubbles in Puzzle Bobble are what I wanted. They're a very cool looking orb thing that fits in my circle window, and they're a very obvious color, and they have like a cool thing in the middle. So I just steal that one for one. And then you can see next to it, I have this little up arrow dancing, and then on the enemy card, I have the down arrow dancing. That will represent the type advantage, rock, paper, scissors thing I have going on. That animation and that concept, one for one stolen from the Game Boy Advance Fire Emblem games. Like, I just stole it. If you compare my animation, it's almost the same. I consciously animated it in the same way because I liked it, and it's like a cool detail to steal. This damage number, this giant ass damage number, and the star were stolen from Advance Wars 2. On the battle screen for Advance Wars 2, the health of your unit is like really huge, and it's next to a bunch of stars. So I was like, steal it. I want a giant ass number as well. I'll keep this one secret because it's our sort of signature gameplay mechanic, our sync bar. You might be able to like infer what it is. I was thinking like what has a vertical way of showing a resource in a retro video game. One of my first thoughts was Mega Man. So we steal the bars from Mega Man, the health bar from Mega Man to get these sync bars, which is fun. Where your hand is, this is just the Windows XP folder icon, and you can see it is a little bit transparent like the Windows XP folder. This is again a really specific thing to steal, but when you finish a level in Sonic Advance 2, you run onto this checker situation, and I was like, I need a little something for this folder because without it, it's a bit plain. What about the checkers at the end of the level from Sonic Advance 2? Like, that's the level I want us to be operating on. Just something so specific. When you're stealing stuff, be like specific about it. You can't just break into a store and grab everything. Then you won't get the big bucks. You gotta know where the good shit is to steal that. Once you start stealing one thing, like, it just leads you to a life of crime. So like, the selection around this hand, you can see I have this highlighted. This is stolen from the Windows XP selection highlight. I don't even know what to call it. When you click a file on Windows XP, it highlights blue and it has these little dotties around it. So I stole the dotties just to evoke more of that Windows XP goodness. And then obvious stuff like the cursor is a cursor, like we steal that. In your hand, I was trying to think, how do I display a lot of hand info in such a small amount of space? And I was like, you know, there are Yu-Gi-Oh games on the Game Boy Advance, so they must have figured it out. Yu-Gi-Oh! The Sacred Cards on the Game Boy Advance, they're doing a similar thing which I stole. I say they're doing a similar thing, I stole it from them. They have a hand display that like crams a lot of info on like 2 pixels, so we steal it. These stars in the corner represent the difficulty of the enemy. Again, the star iconography is sort of stolen from... it is stolen from Advance Wars 2. Being specific, this gradient animation on the difficulty stars is stolen from this element on Puzzle Bobble. So I'm just stealing this gradient one for one. Moving on to when you get to the action window, I'm calling it the action window. It's just a window of all your moves you can do. The icons, the concept of these are stolen from Mother 3 and Golden Sun, but I'm sure like most JRPGs on the Game Boy Advance sort of display their move icons like this, just due to the low resolution. And Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga kind of does icons like this in a cooler way than mine actually. You don't have a lot of screen space. I didn't want to literally have the words on screen, like the word attack, the word rush down, the word trade. So I went for the icons. And then I have this CD, which is kind of there for no reason other than to be cool and evoke Y2K era aesthetics. But the CDs are based on GameCube discs, which are like monotone. And the idea behind these CDs is that they do sort of have the thing that you're doing on them. So for example, this, I have attack selected right now, and on the CD it's displaying a little attack label that I've done, and it'll be in the color of the element of the card, that you've chosen. So that's cool. And then I was like, the icons still need a label, and then I needed kind of a way to tie the icons and the CD together. And then I came up with this, which is evoking, not literally, but I've stolen it from a car's CD player, because a car CD player has these buttons, and a lot of the time they are displaying like cool icons. In my mind, I know it doesn't look like it, but like in my mind conceptually, like this is like a car CD player. You choose your track or something. These condition icons, I'm calling them, these like crazy 3D pre-rendered elements, they're stolen from this Jankenpon rock paper scissors game that kind of went viral recently called Achimute Hoi Jankenpon. Has these really cool pre-rendered 3D icons. And I was like, that's a cool idea. I will steal it and pre-render my own cool icons. The idea from the icons itself is from Yigjar Union, which is sort of a obscure Game Boy Advance, sort of a JRPG. They display, you know, their attack conditions with circles and crosses, and I just thought that was cool, so I stole it. And then Achimute Hoi also had the circles and crosses, but they were in a cool pre-rendered style. At the bottom here, there's like a label that shows what music is playing. That's really important to me, man. I love games that showcase music properly. So on the battle screen, I was like, I want something that shows the title of the track and who made the track. So GTA, Rockstar games do this a lot. Rockstar games are like really good at showing you the music playing. Same with FIFA actually. FIFA is also really good at highlighting music, crazy enough. And for both those games, the soundtrack is like a big part of the appeal. So I want it to be the same. I'd love to get a bunch of musicians I like, have them create tracks for the game, and then really highlight them. So I have this music label that shows up that does just that. You remember old school HTML? You know, bracket, marquee, bracket? That's this. We just steal it. And then the music label font is sort of stolen. I had to remake it, but it's stolen off old school web ring buttons. Used to have this font. If you're on like LiveJournal or fucking God knows in the early 2000s, there was this font on buttons everywhere. So I just recreated that font manually. And all this stuff adds up. Again, I'm trying to be like disgustingly particular when it comes to this stuff. The container itself, it's sort of a weird concept, but it is sort of evoking in the style of old school Japanese puzzle games, where a lot of the gameplay takes place in a container. I can take the container off, but then it's not the effect I want. I found putting everything in a container, it just evoked the feeling of like a quirky arcade game from the 90s in Japan, better than leaving everything open. Behind this cat is this, it's like an old QuickTime Windows Media Player visualizer from back in the day. I wanted something reactive to the music as well, to go behind the enemy, just to sort of encapsulate it, to highlight it. So we steal 2000s visualizers. For the enemy itself, it's a pre-rendered 3D thing. It's just a Wind Waker shader, man. Just a basic recreated Wind Waker shader in Blender. This Fresnel, it's this rim light, super harsh outline type thing. That is really Sonic Sega key art situation that I've stolen right there. Again, being specific, being super detail oriented, you can see the aliasing around the sprite is very PlayStation 1 DS PNG aliasing. What I mean by aliasing is the way the outline is, sort of. These older consoles didn't really have the best like transparency handling, so everything was kind of opaque or not, but they did fake it, or at least try to. The aliasing is sort of in the way. Like, look at this example from The World Ends With You on the DS. Maybe I can't really explain it, but hopefully you can see that the outline on this screenshot is similar to the outline I have around my cats. To be honest, I'm worried that it might be seen as a mistake rather than an intentional choice, but it is an intentional choice to have this dodgy, janky outline, just to evoke that era of sprites. And then this blocky pixel shading sort of effect, I stole that as well. That's just from like a bunch of Japanese artists are doing this type of thing, and it is starting to leak over into the Western artists. There's a lot of Pokemon art like this. I just thought it was a cool way to evoke pixel art, so I stole it. And then here's a mythical pool for you guys. You can see the enemy is separated from the background by these like squares. In like the 2000s, again, we didn't really know how transparency worked. So a lot of times when you download an image from a website, it looked transparent, but it wasn't actually transparent. You'd open it in Photoshop and then there'd be these white squares behind it where you thought transparency should be. And that's what I stole. I just stole the idea of a badly cut out. I don't know if it was badly or if it was like a legitimate thing, or like an export problem or like a data thing. But we take it. Like, I needed a way to separate from the background, and I was like, what's the most 2000s way of separating this thing from the background? Yes, badly transparent PNGs from a time when PNGs were just invented, which is hilarious to me, and no one will get it, but it kind of doesn't matter. What's more important is evoking the feeling. And then lastly, the last like literal thing I stole, Plume here in the corner. She's just walking right now, but she'll be in like a fighting pose. Puzzle Bubble again, and Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo have these like really fun chibi sprites in the corner that aren't really connected, but as gameplay happens, they're dancing, they're doing cool stuff, they're having a great time. And I think that's a really nice way of tying in your main character or the character you've chosen in games to the screen itself. Because one of my big problems with the front-on JRPG view traditionally is that you don't see your own character really, and I was kind of missing that connection. So then I thought, you know, how can I have Plume, our main character, on the screen, and we just stick her in the corner like Puzzle Fighter and kind of work. Hopefully it kind of works and adds like a bit of like grounding and connection to Plume herself on the JRPG battle screen. So that's it. I think that's like a broad overview of everything I stole. For now, I'll be stealing more. I'm not done. I'm not done being a criminal. I'll steal more in the future. I guess the broader point is, just take shit, man. Like, steal like an artist. Here's everything I stole. I just be taking shit. Just steal shit. I'm a criminal. That's what I am. So, and then on a broader point, as an artist, I think this is what people mean by visual library. When someone says, oh, I'm entering this into my visual library, I'm collecting stuff on Pinterest, it actually does come in clutch when you're quote unquote making something from scratch to have a visual library to steal from. So I've shown you the stuff I've stolen, but you shouldn't steal from the Neopets trading card game if you have nothing to do with it, because that's part of my visual library. You have your own visual library you can steal from of stuff that is like significant to you. All this is my shit. All this is my shit that I've stolen. Steal your own shit. So so hopefully this is giving you like a sort of a practical example of how to steal stuff. Nice.
be a criminal.
So this video was literal stuff I've stolen. The next one may or may not be a broader tractate on aesthetics, which is a bunch of big words, but we'll see what happens. Steal more, be open about it. Downtown 14, demo out, Steam page out, 2026. God, it's getting close to the end of 2026. Oh, also, I forgot something. I forgot something. It's very important. The rounding of the rectangles, the rounding of all these rectangles is the same rounding. Is the same. I don't know what you'd call it. Rounding as the MSN display pic rounded rectangles. I stole the rounded rectangles from the MSN display picture. I just thought that was very important.